Welcome to the Magical Melting Pot, celebrating America's diversity through food, where professional and home chefs from all over the world share their cultures and how to make their favorite dishes. Today we're visiting Tunisia in North Africa with Judy Hallet, who's making fried tuna and potato turnovers in a very special light dough.
Hi, my name is Judy Hallet. I'm a filmmaker, now turned cookbook writer. This is my first cookbook on Tunisian cuisine that I did with my colleagues Rauda Ben Tariq and Hasna Bel Twabelsi. This is my second video that I'm doing about our cookbook. The first one was on salads, and this one is going to be on the traditional Tunisian hors d'oeuvre or first course, bric-a-l'œuf, here in the book, right here. Now, bric-a-l'œuf is very interesting because no one really knows what the origin is. The first theory is probably the Berbers, or Amazirs as they're now called. The Berbers go back at least 7,000 years, and now in Tunisia they mostly live up in the mountains. The second theory of where the brick comes from is the Jews from the island of Jerba. The Jews here go back to at least 500 BC. The third theory goes back to the etymology of the word brick. It is associated with the Turkish word börek, which means to fold. And in Turkey, you see a lot of things folded, from the carpets to the pastries. And even my architect husband says the architecture, if you look up, it looks quite folded on the ceiling. Now, the Ottomans came to Tunisia in the 16th century, so it's possible they brought the brick with them. So by the way, in English, brick is a Tunisian word, and a l'œuf is a French word meaning egg. So bric-a-l'œuf means a brick with an egg. So now I think it's time for us to go down and I'll show you how to make a bric-a-l'œuf. Well, now here we are in my kitchen. I've put on my red apron and I'm now going to show you how to make a bric-a-l'œuf. The first thing you have to do is buy the masuka, which is similar to phyllo dough. If you can't find masuka, you can use phyllo dough or actually even the Chinese egg roll dough. You can find masuka on Amazon. You can get it in any of the Mideastern grocery stores, especially in the big cities. The ingredients to make a bric-a-l'œuf are quite simple. Today we're going to make 4. So what you need are 4 eggs. You need 1 can of tuna fish in oil. Here's the tuna fish. You need 2 tablespoons flat leaf parsley, finely chopped, which I'll show you how to do. You need 1 tablespoon of scallions or green onions. You need 1 tablespoon capers. Here are the capers. And you need 1 potato that's boiled and peeled and smashed up. 1/4 cup of Gruyere cheese that you have grated with your grater. See, there's the Gruyere. And salt, pepper, and yes, cinnamon. So the first thing you have to do is boil a potato. So now the potatoes have been boiled and drained, and here they are. And what I have to do is now peel, take off the outer skin. It's easier once it's drained and it's still hot, that you can just see it comes right off. So now that I've peeled the potato, you mash it. Dum, bum, 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 bum. There you go, that's it. And now, what you have to do is chop the parsley, like this. And then I have a little trick, which I will show you, which is to put the parsley in a glass like this. And then you take scissors and you cut it up. This is a French trick. Next, we're going to chop up 2 green onions. What you got to do is take off the top, like that. And then I always take off a little bit at the bottom, just like that. And then you should make sure that there's no dirt under one. And so I usually take one of these off like that. And now you just dice it. And you make, we only need 1 tablespoon of this, so you do, although it doesn't really matter that much. There, that's probably 1 tablespoon, okay? So that's for that. And then you can even chop it a little bit more, because it's supposed to be quite small. Okay, and that's that. The next ingredient is Gruyere cheese from France. And you need to grate 1/4 cup. And I just use a regular grater like this until we get 1/4 cup. And now I'm going to put all the ingredients in the bowl. So here's the bowl with the potatoes mashed up. And then I put in the 2 tablespoons of parsley that we've already chopped up. And look, I do it quite generously, as you can see. And then the 1 tablespoon of the green onions. And then we have the capers. And by the way, I have a little trick with capers. This is a caper spoon. So when you take it out of the bottle, you always have to drain the water. And this spoon has little drains in it. How much you need, we need 1 tablespoon. And that way, you see, they're drained. Isn't that nice? And then you need to put in the grated Gruyere cheese. Like that. It's 1/4 cup. Finally, you have pepper, just whatever you feel like. I'm very, not too measury. And a little salt. And you need 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, which I can't see. I think it's this one. Here we go. Cinnamon. We also need to put in our can of tuna. There. And then we're going to mix it all up. Okay. Now that we've got the filling for the bric a l'oeuf, I'm going to introduce my husband, the architect, Stanley, who always makes the brick.
So here I finally am, the sous chef who washes the dishes, cleans the kitchen, and in this particular case, prepares the moussaka for the brick. In so doing, since I also teach architecture, I've been always inspired by the form of the circle and the transformations that we have to make before we go into the final preparation of the brick. The problem has always been, how does the brick, which is circular, become a triangle? And there's one position in the middle where it's a perfect square. And this problem of the circle and the square has been part of architecture for years, especially religious architecture. In Islam, in Christianity, and even in pre-Christian thought. So, the problem of putting a circle, which would represent the dome of the heavens and paradise, over the cube of the earth, which is the circle over the square, has become this problem that's always presented a challenge. The challenge is, when you put the circle over the square, what happens to the corners? And When it's easy enough, like in Tunisia, when a dome is placed over a thick-walled cube, there's no problem. It's just prescribed right on top. But as the religious specialty buildings become larger, the problem of putting the dome over the square has the problem of how do I handle the four corners where they're no longer on top of the walls. And this is solved by the squinch. This is solved by the pedantive, which is fantastic in Romanesque and in Orthodox Catholic architecture, Christian architecture, but also especially in Islam, where the solution is called the mukhanas. And we'll try to show you a few over here at the same time. So now we have the circular brick, or the dome of the heavens, which we're going to transform into the cube of the earth. Just to moisten it a little bit around the edges helps. Oops, sorry. Let's get that back in there. And we're now going to fold this to form the cube, square, of the earth. Now, I need to turn this 45 degrees, take some of our wonderful material here, and form a semicircle around the center. Just like that. And this is where I then put in the egg, which takes the center of the brick. And in a way, much like in the pilgrimage, I keep thinking of in that case, the center is the Kaaba or cube in the pilgrimage, and these are the people making the circumambulation around it. Now all I have to do is bring the triangle back to form, the square back to form a triangle, and a little bit more water here to seal it, and hope that we are ready to put this into the fry pan, which now should have its heat on.
Like this. And I think that's good. Gonna flip it like that. We'll turn up the heat a little bit. And grease it a little bit more. And then we're going to, I put it on a plate with paper towel because to drain a little bit more of the oil out. So we drain out a little bit of the oil here, like that. And then I'm putting it on the plate, like that. And then we're ready for the next one.
Hopefully the final brick. Circle of paradise, the sky, the celestial kingdom, forming the square of the cube of the earth.
One whole egg you crack into a glass, and then you
First I have to put the filling in.
put the filling in.
The diagonal. There we go. Egg in the center. Pull the whole thing over. And I'll take this and move it right to the fry pan, which we hope is hot.
And this one Stanley is doing.
Yay!
So take the other spoon, Stanley,
Oh yes, I have to.
and baste it.
Should I put my initials on this one here?
Mm-hmm. Just to see if it's brown.
About 10 seconds.
Flip.
First flip. All right. Flip.
Good.
Oh, perfect. Look at that, dear. My first brick in the oven or in the fry pan.
No, you need a slotted spoon or a slotted
Here we are.
spatula is better, but yes, okay. Now let it drain.
We'll bring it over after it's drained. Let me just
Ooh,
hold it up
don't
a
do
bit.
that.
Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. Oh dear. There we go. All right. This is the very best part. Eating the bricoleur. Judy, bring in the bricks.
So here are the bricks done. And in Tunisia, during Ramadan, this they have every day at the end of the day to break the fast. It's their first course. But you can eat it all year round. And for those of us who aren't Muslim, you can have wine too.
With our little Tunisian turtles.
Otherwise, you just drink it with water. And now I'm going to show you how to eat a brick. There's one for me, and this one is for Stanley. Now you might wonder, how do you eat a brick? Well, you grab the two corners of the triangle, and then you're going to eat it in the middle. That is one way, because the idea is you do not want the egg yolk to drip onto the plate. If it does, and you're young, you won't get married, or if you're married, you won't have a baby, or I don't know, there's all other legends that go along with it. I don't know what it would be for me. Find it good?
Oh, it's delicious.
Good.
If you want to know more about the bricoleur, go to Judy and her colleagues' cookbook, Discovering Tunisian Cuisine, which you can find on our website, Judy and StanleyHallettProductions.com. So Judy, to our bricoleur in our second video.
Sahab.
Sahab.